WWE's Evolution is this Saturday live from Atlanta, Georgia, and the State Farm Arena. This is the second installment of the Evolution pay-per-view, and already it seems like WWE has decided to take it in a different direction than the original Evolution. Original Evolution seemed to be based around old WWE female talent coming in and feuding with the newer stuff. I know and I understand that we do have Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus for the Women's WWE Championship on this upcoming card, but it just seems like this is now focused on established talent and the depth of the current WWE NXT roster. Personally, I feel this PLE originally seemed to be built completely around Liv Morgan and the Nikki Bella storyline, but with the unfortunate recent injury to Liv Morgan, they seem to have had to obviously scrap that entire storyline and move in a different direction. But like I said, with the unfortunate injury to Liv Morgan, it seemed like WWE has struggled to find a direction with the PLE except for just making some amazing matches. The amazing thing about this is that WWE seemed to find 7 matches for this entire card. Outside of WrestleMania and SummerSlam, we have not seen 7 matches on a PLE in multiple years. So I'm looking forward to the depth of these matches. We do have some titles on the line. We have NXT, we have a couple of legends, and we also have the very unique style of tag match, a fatal 4-way women's tag match, which I'm really excited for, which we still don't know who 2 of the tag teams are in this match. But guys, before I get into my predictions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are the MrTeshk Wrestling channel. Now, on to my predictions. Match 1, and we are going to start with NXT. This is what I love about the depth of the women's division. We can pull stars from AAA, NXT, TNA partnership, or WWE. We could even go into LFG if we wanted, but I don't see that really happening on this card itself. But JC Jane featuring Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix versus Jordynne Grace and her new Def Rebel theme music, God Forsaken, please change it back to what it was originally, for the NXT Women's Championship. This is a great platform for JC Jane, who is being dubbed the most beatable champion in NXT history, but you're going up as Fatal Influence versus Jordynne Grace. Do we get a run in from Blake Monroe? I have no idea, but I love what they have done. They've made Jordynne Grace look very vulnerable going into this feud as the uber babyface. She cut that promo on NXT the other week, which really made us see a different side of Jordynne Grace that we're really not used to. We're used to the powerhouse. We're looking at normally muscle mommy, and now we get this very vulnerable and open version of Jordynne Grace, which really showed the depth in her character that she's been able to find coming over to the NXT roster, and I believe working at the Performance Center. I remember some of her feuds over in TNA with the likes of Masha Slamovich, where we got to see something along the lines, but nothing with this much depth. So JC Jane versus Jordynne Grace is a great match that hopefully starts the card. I would love to see NXT get that spotlight of these women are what we're putting out here to start off a massive main roster PLE. So I would love to see this one kick off the card, and this is one where I actually don't think Jordynne Grace is winning the NXT Women's Championship. She's already beginning this nice little bromance with Blake Monroe as uber baby faces that are probably going to have to feud with Fatal Influence for the next few weeks going into the next NXT PLE that we have coming up. And JC Jane, I don't think it would be fair to JC Jane. It would really hurt her stock if she dropped the title now. You also have the likes of Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix that you really have to focus on moving into this match. But overall, I think JC Jane deserves a much longer run with the NXT Women's Championship, considering that she did take it from Stephanie Vecher. So overall, this match is going to be great. Jordynne Grace is going to show why she was brought from NXT and is Muscle Mommy. And I really wish they would start referring to her like that again. It seems like she's joined NXT and kind of floundered for a little while. Now we get to see what Jordynne Grace is made of. But I think this match is going to end up in a DQ with the involvement of Fatal Influence, especially with Fallon Henley. I do see cracks in the armor when it comes to Fatal Influence. So this could be a real messed up finish, but I'm going to go with JC Jane retaining via disqualification. For me, this next match is the most interesting on the card, and that is the Women's Battle Royal for a championship match at Clash in Paris. This is so unique, and I love that WWE is making these stipulations to make other PLEs just as important as their top 4 or their top 6 PLEs of the year. We see at Money in the Bank that there's going to be a stipulation for obviously a title opportunity when that was introduced many years ago at any time of their choosing. Now we went to Night of Champions, and the winners of those matches at Night of Champions of the King and Queen of the Ring now get a match at SummerSlam versus the champion. Now they've got the Women's Battle Royal to make Clash in Paris already booked a couple of months out, and I love that there's more value in these matches instead of, oh, who's gonna win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and you get a big trophy that you don't see for another year. Now there's substance and depth to these types of matches, and I love it. Let's talk about what we can see in this match. Obviously, we're going to get participants from SmackDown. We are going to get participants from Raw. We are going to get NXT. Do we get LFG? I don't think so, but I would love to see 1 or 2 participants, especially Danny from LFG this season. Throw her in there as a nice little pop and move on. But with this match, we are obviously going to get legends. I hope we see Victoria. We're probably going to see Nikki Bella, because where are they going to put her considering they don't have anything for her in the main event status of this PLE like they were going to with Liv Morgan. So we're probably going to see the likes of Nikki Bella. I can see a Kelly return. I would love to see someone from AAA, maybe somebody come over from TNA. I would love to see somebody come over from TNA, especially TNA Women's Champion Masha Slamovich. I think that would be a huge marketing opportunity for TNA. And also, if there's anyone on the TNA women's roster that deserves to get their flowers and come over to WWE and show what they're worth, it's Masha Slamovich. I want to see her music hit for that Battle Royal. But overall, who's going to win the Battle Royal? At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure it's obvious that it's going to be the returning Bianca Belair. She's already one of the main 3 people on the poster behind me. We've got Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, and Bianca Belair as the first 3 you see on the poster. So I personally believe it's going to be a returning Bianca Belair. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Bianca's going to return in the Jade and Naomi match, but we need to find Bianca something for SummerSlam and for Clash. I would like to see her being the winner of the Battle Royal and then going on to face either Naomi or Jade, whoever the winner from SummerSlam is, at Clash in Paris 3 weeks later. So a lot of people's favorites are either Stephanie Vecher or Julia. I think they're going to have a great showing. They're definitely going to be 1 or 2 of the Iron Women in this match, but at the end of the day, it's going to be returning Bianca Belair with the W in this match, and then going up against either Naomi or Jade Cargill at Clash in Paris. Speaking of Jade Cargill and Naomi, I did not know this was a no holds barred match. I'm pretty sure they said it on SmackDown and I completely missed it, but this is going to be wild. This is what the women's division needs. Long-term storytelling, just like the men's get, like Drew McIntyre and CM Punk and Hell in a Cell. Naomi versus Jade Cargill in a no holds barred match, anything goes. We're gonna get a Slim Jim table spot, we're gonna get the briefcase used, we might even get a run-in or two, completely contradicting what I said about the return of Bianca Belair. We could get Bianca Belair running in and helping one of the two women in this match. Overall, this match I'm very excited for. I want to see a little bit of color, dare I say it. Can we get some color in a women's match and really blow the roof off the State Farm Arena in Atlanta for these two women? Jade Cargill is increasingly getting better day in and day out every time she's on screen. Naomi and this new dark version of her character, I absolutely love. I want this to be a absolute banger. Personally, I think this ends with a Jade Cargill W, but Naomi losing back to back to Jade, I think it's going to be a very interesting finish. I think there's something where Jade wins, but automatically gets attacked by Naomi right after, and they're both exhausted and laid out by the end of it. So I'm going to go Jade Cargill with this win, but there is a lot more to this conversation and a lot more structure leading through the rest of the summer, going into SummerSlam, Clash in Paris, and I don't see this feud being over anytime soon. It could culminate at Survivor Series or potentially next year's WrestleMania. Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus for the WWE Women's Championship. I understand the relationship between Tiffany and Trish, and they've had this little partnership over the last year or so, but this is the match I can honestly say I'm not really looking forward to the most, because we already know that Trish Stratus is not winning the WWE Women's Championship. I know for the Evolution side of things and bringing back veterans to feud with the new and upcoming stars is a great idea. I know Trish Stratus had that great cage match versus Becky Lynch a couple of years ago, but this is probably a Tiffany Stratton push to Nia Jax again. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a Nia Jax involvement in this match. Overall, I'm going to say they get about 7 to 11 minutes in this match for these women's to put on a show, make the crowd happy. Trish is going to take the pin, kind of pass the torch to Tiffany Stratton, and we're going to move on with Tiffany Stratton and still your women's WWE champion, and probably going to face either Jade or Nia Jax at SummerSlam. Either way, this match is going to be good. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I think we all agree that Trish Stratus is not winning this title. Another match I'm really excited for is the women's tag match Fatal 4-Way. Raquel Rodriguez and newly crowned Roxanne Perez as the women's tag champions going up against, from what we know so far, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, who on paper is probably one of the most dominant women's tag teams that you could probably put together on the women's roster, next to maybe putting Stephanie and Julia back together and just having them run ruckshot across the entire women's division in the tag side of things. Alexa and Charlotte, I love what they're doing with this, considering a lot of people are missing that Alexa and Charlotte have almost been intertwined or running down the same road for over a decade side by side, but not always crossing paths. So putting Alexa and Charlotte together is a great move by WWE. If it goes the way I think it's going to go, having someone like Becky Lynch making the IC title relevant, this partnership of Alexa and Charlotte could make the tags division finally relevant, having them go over to TNA, have them go to NXT, potentially having them go down to AAA, etc., etc., etc. These are two women that can sell the tag division in a positive light. So, what are we going to get for the other two tag teams going into this match before I pick an overall decisive winner? Well, one tag team that I'm really excited about so far is the idea of Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley getting a call to be put into this match. Two up-and-comers that have kind of been floundering in the NXT roster, but have such a good chemistry together with the stories that they're telling over on NXT. I want to see Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley in this Fatal 4-Way. But we could also talk about what's going on in NXT as well with Izzy and Tatum and the likes of Sol Ruca and Zarya. Zarya has seemed to just partner herself up with Sol Ruca and been like a little tail and toe, and I don't like that for Zarya. I'd love to see her as an individual completely destroying the women's division in NXT, but right now she's teamed up with Sol Ruca, and I can see them being another factor in this match. So one of those two NXT teams are going to be in this tag match. On the other side of things, we do have the partnership with TNA, and currently over in TNA, we have one of the most iconic tag teams in the Inspirations over on TNA, and I think this would be a great callback to the women's roster, and they were fan favorites for so long in WWE. And they obviously have gone on and had their families, both of them. But I would love to see the Inspirations / the Iconics in this match as well. Overall, who are we picking to win this match? It's Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. It's going to give depth, like I said at the start, into the women's tag division and a feud across the entire all four brands potentially for this women's tag division, which it has desperately needed since they introduced the women's tag titles. So moving forward, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair and new women's tag team champions. Going into another title match, we have the triple threat for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch, the current Intercontinental Champion. I love this feud. What we said about Becky Lynch making the IC title important again, or relevant in general, has happened. When it comes to women's feuds and builds to any match on this Evolution card, it has been Becky, Bayley, and Lyra carrying the torch to get us over the line and make us care about this entire PLE. Becky, Bayley, and Lyra. Lyra, a future multiple-time women's champion in WWE. Becky and Bayley, two of the core four horsewomen that we did not think would be the core two coming out of that, with the departure of Sasha Banks to AEW and Mercedes Moné, and Charlotte Flair having the injuries that she's had and the time off that she's had. Also, the crowd has become overly frustrated with Charlotte Flair, and her being moved out of the title picture is a great spot for her. So, who comes up with the W? Honestly, this match is going to end up with Bayley and Lyra not being able to really focus on Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch is going to get the easy, cheeky roll-up and retain her title. Becky needs to carry this feud straight into SummerSlam, where I believe she drops the title. Becky is a great advocate for the IC champion and really brings a lot of eyes to it because of what Becky's status is. So for this match, I think these women are going to put on a banger. I think it's Bayley. Lyra is incredibly talented in the ring, and what she's been doing on the mic lately really has broadened her horizons on which area she can go after this. If she stays in the mid card, if she somehow gets into the main event scene, her on the mic is like a young Becky Lynch in the man era. Not as aggressive, but she's getting there, and she's continuously getting better every week. But overall, Becky Lynch to retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship, to defend it and probably lose it at SummerSlam at MetLife Stadium. And the final match of the night, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. This is a match we have seen. This is a feud that has carried a very, very long time. And honestly, it's one of those matches that finally has to go a different direction. Rhea Ripley is arguably the top woman in professional wrestling right now. A lot of people may argue saying Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné, but no woman gets a pop in pro wrestling right now like Rhea Ripley. She gets Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and John Cena level pops when her music hits. Rhea Ripley is the one to carry that world title for the rest of the year and potentially into WrestleMania next year in Las Vegas. A lot of people in the comments might argue with me saying that Rhea Ripley as champion, it's not something they like to see because it kind of gets forgotten about and people don't really watch it as much and get as much entertainment with Rhea as champion. Look back at Rhea's previous title reigns. The one time she had the world championship, half the main roster was injured and they couldn't build a decent feud around Rhea Ripley. And the other time, you know, it was what it was, but again, it came around who she was booked up against. Now, I think with the talent that they've brought up from NXT and who she can feud against, this is a time for Rhea Ripley to really show her dominance as the top woman on the WWE roster. And with that being said, you can guess who my prediction is going to be. It's Rhea Ripley and new Women's World Heavyweight Champion. Overall, guys, I'm really excited for this event. Unfortunately, it is going up against one of AEW's biggest events of the year, with All In Texas running on the same day. So, guys, don't forget to look for my All In Texas predictions, which should be up this week as well, depending on the posting of this video. Overall, guys, I'm really excited for this event. I think for what the booking strategy was by WWE and dealing with the injury to Liv Morgan, we've come out with a pretty top tier card. My only concern is we've only sold about 5,000 tickets for this event, and we're going up against AEW's All In, which is arguably their biggest event of the entire year. Guys, I want to know what your thoughts are in the comments. Let me know who your predictions are to win these matches and what returns you see happening in the Women's Battle Royal. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are the MrTeshk Wrestling channel. See you tomorrow.